it's Nell, and today I'm going to be repotting my silver satin pothos. So stick around for that. So if you like videos all about gardening, both indoors and outdoors, be sure to subscribe because I upload on a semi-regular basis here, and I would love for you to come back. And there are plenty of videos in the archives for you to peruse, and there is a blog post to go along with every video which has more details, so be sure and check the details on this one. The link will be right in the description box down below, and also on our website JoyUsGarden.com. So this also goes by satin pothos, silver pothos. I learned it as silver satin pothos. It is a SCINDAPSUS. It's not technically a pothos. It grows and it looks like a pothos, and it's in the same family. So it really doesn't have roots coming out of the bottom. I just pruned it too, but it just is getting out of scale. It's gonna grow more and more, and I'm gonna put the cuttings back in here, so I just want it in a bigger pot. It is now the end of August. I do repotting in spring, summer, into early fall, so I'm going to be doing a few repotting videos coming up for you. All right, so this is in a 4-inch pot, and I am going to do it up to a 6-inch pot. I'm going up 1 pot size on this, and this is what I'm putting into the mix. So I have potting soil here. I use a combination of Happy Frog and Ocean Forest. They're both from Fox Farm Organic, great products. Cocoa Coir, pumice, and cocoa chips. Now, you don't need to use all these. You could just do a really good high quality potting soil and maybe some perlite or some pumice or some chips. But I do so much plant repotting, and I have the 3rd bay of my garage holds all of my materials. I just like to make an optimum mix because it's one of those plants that grows along the forest floor, and it also grows up plant, so it has a lot of rich plant matter falling on it, which this is sort of indicative of that. So I like to give my plants a really good mix, and I'm also going to put in some worm compost and compost. This is a mix here, so it will be very happy. Alrighty, so I have my potting soil in here, and in here I have these three components, and I'm just going to mix in the compost as I go along. And I want to show you this. There's so many drain holes on the bottom of this pot. I don't want the loose mix to all fall out, so I just trace this on top of a piece of newspaper, and then I put it in there. And if it's not draining, it's just to hold it until everything gets established and in there. And if it's not draining out, I'll just take my floral nips, which are over on the table there, or something sharp, and I'll just poke a little hole through here so that the water drains out, but the soil stays in. So let's get the plant out of the pot first, and I just squeeze. Hopefully it's going to come out. Okay, there we go. Ooh. So you can see the roots. It had some nice, root action there. Okay, so what I do with these is I gently give them a little squeeze just to get off some of the soil. This soil doesn't look too bad, but some soil really looks old, but it's more to loosen up the roots. So I need to add about an inch or so I'm going to put a few handfuls in, and I just mix it as I go. You can have it already mixed up if you want. Sometimes I do that, but I was doing a pruning video before, and I was doing a pruning video on the Hoya too, so I'm kind of all over the place today. I need a little bit more. And this just aids in the drainage. It adds a little more, you know, good stuff into, and of course the compost and the worm compost are a good way to feed it naturally. And I go easy on that because it's a little bit stronger, you know, especially for houseplants. Okay, so I have it in here, and the root ball is slightly starting to fall apart, but that happens sometimes. So I just want to get a little more of the mix in here. All right, I'm just putting in a little more of that special drainage blend, drainage / amendment blend. And I'm gonna get it over here so I can see it. What I'm going to do is spread it out a little bit because the root ball was falling apart a little bit, so I've been, you know, pressing on it a little bit. I want it to fill out a little more, so I'm going to try to get some of this growth. This one I want to go over here, and then that one can go there, and then those cuttings, when they're done, are going to go back here to fill the plant in. And I'm just gently pressing down to make sure that the root ball is going to stay. And oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I watered this plant 2 days ago before I started this endeavor. So I'm just going to put a little bit of worm compost and compost on the top, and that's it. And then if any of it sinks down in a couple months, I can just add a bit more because it's my plant and I'll be here. So, you know, it's not like I'm doing this for anybody else, so I can check on the soil level. And that is it. So that just gives it a little bigger pot. It's gonna have a little, you know, it's gonna have a bit more room to grow into now. As you saw, the roots were starting to wrap around the bottom. They weren't coming out the bottom, maybe because the holes were so small. So I will continue to kind of straighten this out as I go, but there is the finished product there. And you will see how it looks after the cuttings get planted in when you watch the pothos, the silver satin pothos pruning and propagation video. So aftercare, I think the aftercare is really important on these after you do your repotting, and then you're like, okay, what do I do? So what I'm going to do is, because this mix was dry, I'm going to water this plant well until the water drains out the bottom, and then I'm going to put it back in the same spot that it was in. It's fine to go back into it. It's on a long table in my dining room. You might have seen it on Instagram or in other blog posts, but it sits with a whole bunch of other plants. It gets nice, bright, natural light. It's about 8 feet away from south facing, you know, windows, beautiful light. So, and then I will just resume the care as I normally do. But I am going to be doing a care post on this plant too at some point, so stay tuned for that. So as I said, there's a blog post to go along with this video. You'll find the links to all the materials and everything in there, just in case you don't have a local garden center around to buy them from. That's what I do, but I also have an Amazon storefront, so everything is in there. And it'll be linked in the blog post. So I hope you have found this video to be helpful about repotting a silver satin pothos. It's gaining in popularity a lot. It's a sweet little plant, easy to care for. But I thank you so much for subscribing. Talk about a quick turnaround, huh? I thank you for subscribing. I thank you for all your likes. I really appreciate them. I have a lot more videos coming up about gardening, houseplants, all that. I'm going to show you how my sorrel cacti got transplanted out in my front yard. And we have a couple fall things, you know, coming up too. So stay tuned for those. Now let's get out in the garden or into our indoor gardens and make our worlds a more beautiful place. Catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.